But I feel like when I have sex with a guy, like I can't help but care. Like we as women are more emotional.
Sure.
Right. So I can't help but care. So like I'm just not that type of woman. But I'm just saying that.
I'm not saying like some women don't like casual sex, but if you do search out casual sex, you're probably gonna be like, I want the hottest guy. Like if it's a one night stand, I want to get with the hottest guy possible.
Mm-hmm.
For a one night stand, you're not gonna be like, I want a funny guy. No, you want the funny guy for like a relationship, whatever. But like for a one night stand, you're gonna go fuck the funny guy. No, you're probably gonna like prefer the like most physically
Funny guys are
attractive
cute.
dude. Sure, I mean if he can get you going, I guess, but it's pretty different. So it's pretty different. So here I'm gonna finally get into
Bobby
my
Lee.
What's up?
I said Bobby Lee. I did like multiple videos with Bobby Lee.
Bobby
Did-
Lee.
Did you fuck him?
I love Bobby.
Despite him being exceptionally funny. So obviously physical attractiveness is important. And I actually argue women care far more about looks than men do.
I argue against.
Well, for example,
one night stand perspective, I agree with you on.
here's my example. Like here's my argument for this. So of the things that are in women's control and in that are out of women's control and out of men's control when it comes to physical appearance, women care about far more metrics that are totally out of men's control. Like they have no control over it. For example, height. Men can't control their height. A lot of women care about height. If the guy's balding, a lot of women would prefer to date a guy with a full head of hair, certainly if they're younger. But some guys start balding in their early 20s, even in their teens. Penis size, out of a man's control. A lot of women care about that. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that women care about when it comes to looks that are totally out of dudes' control.
Yeah.
Whereas for men,
You
it's
can actually
like,
get surgery now though to increase your height.
I don't
agree
count
with
surgery.
that. Like,
Like people be getting surgery to increase their height.
I don't think men should be doing that shit.
regardless, though, I still think men care more about appearance.
Yeah.
Like, you're
don't think so.
right. Like,
I don't
no,
think
you
so.
can't control your height. If you're balding, you're balding. Like, you can't do anything about it. But I would say women care more about things that aren't physical.
How tall
And
are
I
you?
think guys do. I'm 5 foot.
Do you have a bare minimum height?
No.
You'll date a guy who's 5'1"?
My last boyfriend was, I think, like, on the shorter side.
Me too.
And I
actually.
didn't care. And
That's
I thought,
fine. That's fine. But I would argue most women prefer a guy who's like
I don't
6
really
feet,
care.
5'10".
My only preference is that he's taller than me, but that's
Okay.
not really hard for me because I'm short.
Sure, but you wouldn't date a guy who's shorter than you, it sounds like. Granted,
I don't
most
think
men
I
are probably
wouldn't. I don't think
most
I
men are
wouldn't.
probably taller than you, so
But I don't have a set height.
okay. I would argue though most women like prefer taller guys. In fact, they very much typically
I
like
think
on
guys
dating.
prefer shorter girls.
I don't think the difference is though between men and women is height typically is never going to be a deal breaker for a guy.
I
think-
Like
don't-
they
I
might
don't
have a
think so. I've heard
preference. They might have a
I
preference.
think a lot of guys have that preference, and I think a lot of guys like hate that idea that of a woman being taller than them.
Yeah.
No,
I've seen,
I disagree.
and I've also seen a lot on social media, like tall girls coming out talking about that, and it's.
I mean, I would argue that men not wanting to date a taller woman, that's probably more so because they know that taller women don't want to date shorter guys.
Well, I guess you could say it goes.
So
both
they've
ways,
had experiences.
Evenly. I think it evenly goes
I've had
both
experiences
ways.
where I've like, for some magical reason, if the girl, like I'm 6'1", mind you, so like I'll encounter a girl who's 6'2", 6'3". Shit, even a girl who's 6 feet, she's like, Brian, I'd rather a guy who's 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". Like, so I think it, granted, there are probably guys out there that are probably insecure about their height, and that can manifest itself negatively in a relationship. But I would argue typically that's going to fall on the woman. The woman's going to have an issue with it, therefore it's going to be, it's just going to be a problem on her end. So.
Okay.
Yeah, the hardest part for me if I'm dating a girl over 6 foot, because I used to be 6'3", love to swing dance, still enjoy swing dancing in a wheelchair, but if I go for a dip and she's like over 6, it's really hard for me to get my hand all the way on her head. So that's
You
my
need the
biggest
dip.
issue there. But yeah, I think that one thing, like when we're talking about if girls like guys based on their looks or not, I think that like in the sexual marketplace, and when I say that, I'm talking about the dating marketplace and everything. I think that it really comes down to a lot of women are judged by basically like how far they fall off the top of the mountain, which basically is saying that like you know, and this kind of what we were talking about, like guys prefer girls that are like, you know, younger and have been with like less guys for whatever reason. I think it's just kind of genetically designed in us. Like we can rip on why that is, but you know, I think there's some valid reasons for it. And this is why girls who are like normally like, you know, in their young 20s or mid 20s are way more attractive than women who are like in their 40s. Whereas guys, women will date older guys all the time. I mean, it happens all the time. Guys are judged by how much they climb the mountain. Like when a guy is 19 years old, he is the least attractive to the majority of women. But if a guy is like at 33 years old, he has built like a business empire. He is like solidly built physically. He is like got a solid head on his shoulders. He had to build those things. Whereas a woman's normally born with the attributes that make her the greatest, aside from personality that has to be developed and all those things. And so I think guys are judged in how when girls are like thinking about who they want to marry by how far they climb up that mountain. And they get so caught up when they're in their young 20s and they're getting gassed up by everybody, just being chasing after like, I want the hottest guy in the entire world. But then when it comes time to get married, they're like, yeah, that guy was like a jock in high school or they played college football, but now, you know, he's just, you know, does like a something like, you know, not a, he hasn't built himself. Now he's got like a drug addiction and a porn addiction. Those aren't the people you want to marry. You want the guy who has a solid faith built and wants to create a family and provide and protect them. Yeah,
Those are hard to find, though.
it is. I think girls are really interested in those kind of qualities more so than what they're physically attracted to, and that's where they get
Yes,
so fucked up
absolutely.
when they're super young.
Absolutely.
They are just chasing like the hottest guy they can find for clout or for whatever because they want to look good on an Instagram picture, but it's just not going to pay off in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of girls that are seeking long-term commitment aren't just chasing after looks.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's bigger
I
things,
also
and I
feel
think
like-
people are aware of that.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I also feel like guys that are typically physically more attractive, like when you look at their Instagram, you're like, yeah, this guy's they can also be low-key gay at the same time. Like they care too much about like themselves. You know what I mean? Like
And to be the manly man that you would never think.
yeah, like low-key a little too obsessed with themselves, and then you find out that like
perfect loafers. I can't.
Like, I honestly prefer a guy that like isn't. I don't know why. I kind of like a guy who's like a little bit ugly,
Yeah.
low
Yeah.
key, just
Ugly.
a little bit, just a little bit.
yeah.
And I was at a
Okay.
restaurant the other day, and I thought the server was like really hot, and he was gay. So
Oh.
Rip.
The gay guys be really
RIPs in the
attractive.
chat for her.
It's
Okay.
the water, man. They're turning the frogs
They be
gay,
having their
and it's now
eyebrows
starting to make
done
the
all
humans
good.
gay. It's ridiculous.
really having an ear piercing.
The water is turning the frogs gay, and now it's turning us gay.
Oh
Just-
shit.
It's terrible.
Okay, there you have it.
We're all gay.
Here,